The void between stars held no mercy. The scavenger ship Iron Remnant drifted to the graveyard of an ancient war, its hull scarred from centuries of survival. Inside, the crew moved in silence, no names, only roles. The engineer monitored failing systems. The captain stared at the navigation screen, fingers tapping a restless rhythm. The scholar scoured decaying data feeds, searching for anything worth salvaging. Then the scanner screamed. A structure floated ahead, blackened, colossal, its edges jagged like broken teeth. The Titan Forge, a relic from the Age of Gods. The scholar's voice crackled over the comms. Energy signatures dormant but not dead. The captain made the call. We board. The air inside the forge tasted of rust and ozone. The walls pulsed with faint light, veins of power buried deep. The scholar traced inscriptions in a dead language. Warning. Translation reads, when gods wake, stars will burn. The engineer knelt, pressing a hand to the floor. The metal shuddered. A Loham answered. Lights flared. A hologram flickered. A gaunt figure in armor long turned to dust. Its voice was static and thunder. Asterisk. The Devourer's return. The forge must rise. Asterisk. The crew exchanged glances. The engineer's glove hissed as systems locked onto their biometrics. The forge recognized them. Then the void outside shattered. Ships emerged, not of metal, but of writhing flesh and blackened bone. The Devourers. Hundreds. Thousands. The captain barked orders. The Iron Remnant's engines roared, but it was too late. The first swarm hit like a storm. The ship's shields buckled. The forge answered. Turrets unfolded from its surface. Beams of white fire split the dark. The engineer gasped as schematics flooded their mind. Weapons, shields, things no human should comprehend. The scholar shouted over the chaos. It's not just a weapon. It's a key. The forge's core ignited, and somewhere in the dark, something ancient opened its eyes. Alarms howled as the Iron Remnant spun, its hull groaning under the Devourer's assault. The captain gripped the console, watching their defenses crumble. Fall back. Into the forge, now. The crew abandoned ship, racing through shuddering corridors as the enemy swarm closed in. Behind them, their vessel detonated in a silent burst of flame, swallowed by the void. The forge's doors sealed with a final hiss. The engineer collapsed against the wall, gasping as the alien systems pulsed beneath their hands. It's fighting for us. The scholar dragged them forward. No, it's fighting through us. We're just a spark. Outside, the Devourer struck. Organic projectiles slammed into the forge's shields, each impact sending tremors through the structure. The walls bled light, ancient glyphs flaring crimson. The captain barked coordinates, useless. The forge moved on its own, rotating like a living thing, its weapon arrays locking onto targets faster than human eyes could track. A beam lanced out, pure and white. A Devourer battleship split apart, its flesh-like hull curling into ash. The scholar's voice was raw. That's Starfire. They harvested stars to build this thing. But for every enemy destroyed, 3 more took its place. The swarm adapted. Ships shifted formation, weaving to the forge's fire. The engineer's hands flew over alien controls, their mind half lost in the machine's whispers. It's not enough. We need the main cannon. The captain turned. Then fire it. The engineer hesitated. It's unstable. The precursors never finished it. A shudder rocked the forge. A section of shielding failed. The Devourers poured through, their vessels latching onto hull like parasites. The scholar's screen flashed warnings. The core was overheating. We die if we don't try. The captain made the call. Do it. The engineer plunged their hands into the control node. Pain seared up their arms as the forge pulled, drinking their will, their fear. Somewhere deep, gears the size of cities ground to life. The central cannon charged, its light burning through the forge's spine. Then release. A column of annihilation tore through the swarm, erasing ships, space, light itself. The surviving Devourers recoiled, their advance broken. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then the forge's alarm screamed anew. The cannon's backlash had cracked its core. Systems failed in cascades. The engineer slumped, their hands scorched. We bought minutes. No more. The captain looked at the remnants of the swarm, already regrouping. Then we used them. Somewhere in the dark, the Forge's heart began to beat. The engineer's breath came in ragged gasps as the Forge's neural interface released them. Their hands trembled, skin cracked and glowing with residual energy. "It's alive," they whispered. "Not just systems. Asterisk consciousness." Asterisk. The scholar's fingers flew across fractured holograms, pulling data from dying systems. Not just a weapon. A tomb. The captain's voice cut through the static. "Explain." The scholar's display flickered. Ancient schematics, half-formed. The precursors didn't build the forge to fight. They built it to contain. The screen resolved into a nightmare, swirling darkness at the core of the machine. The Devourers aren't invaders. They're an infection, and we just woke the cure. Alarms wailed as the forge's structural integrity failed. Conduits exploded in showers of sparks. The engineer staggered toward the central chamber, drawn by the pulsing light. "It wants me to finish the sequence." The captain grabbed their arm. "At what cost?" The answer came from the walls themselves. A voice like grinding tectonic plates echoed through the chamber. Asterisk, symbiosis or extinction. Asterisk, the scholar's eyes widened. It's not offering a choice. It's stating a fact. Outside, the Devourers regrouped, their organic ships knitting together into a single monstrous entity, a jaws wide enough to swallow planets. The engineer reached the core. The light here burned without heat, revealing the truth. The forge's heart was a prison, and within it, something stirred. Not a weapon, they realized. A sacrifice. The captain understood first. It wants a pilot. The scholar's calculations confirmed it. One mind to merge, to control the containment protocols. They looked at the engineer. "It chose you." The deck plates buckled. The Devourers combined mass warp space itself, their approach bending reality. The engineer didn't hesitate. They stepped into the light. Agony. Then clarity. The engineer was the forge now. They felt its ancient wounds, its half-completed systems, felt the Devourer hive mind scratching at the edges of reality. And most terrible of all, they felt the prisoner in the core, not a weapon, a god. And it was waking up. The captain's voice reached through the fire. "Can you control it?" The engineer's answer shook the stars. Asterisk, no asterisk. Asterisk, but I can ride the lightning. Asterisk. The forge changed. Spines of molten metal erupted from its surface. The incomplete cannon rebuilt itself in real time, fed by the engineer's will. The scholar watched in horror and awe as the reading spiked. "You're not powering the weapons. You're unshackling them." The Devourers hesitated. For the first time in eternity, something feared. The engineer smiled with a mouth that was no longer wholly human. Asterisk, now we burn. The forge screamed awake. Reality twisted as its full power engaged, a dying star's last breath given form. The engineer's consciousness stretched across the machine's vast neural web, every circuit and weapon an extension of their will. They felt the Devourer swarm's hunger like acid in their veins, the hive mind's primal need to consume everything in its path. The forge answered with fire. Its main cannon discharged not a beam, but a rip in space-time itself. The blast tore through the Devourer collective, unraveling their fused ships like rotten flesh. The scholar watched from the crumbling command hub, data streams screaming past. It's working. Their neural links are... Then the core pulsed. A shock wave of energy threw them to the ground. The forge's systems flickered, its power fluctuating. The engineer's voice crackled through the comms, distorted. Asterisk, they're fighting back. Not just the swarm, the thing inside me. It's waking up. Asterisk, the captain dragged themselves upright. Then we killed two gods with one shot. The scholar's hands flew across the controls, rerouting power. The core's containment was never meant to hold forever. If we overload it, then do it. The engineer's laugh was half static, half something older than stars. Asterisk, you don't understand. It asterisk wants asterisk to die. It's been waiting. Asterisk, outside, the remnants of the Devourers convulsed, their ship spasming as if in pain. The Forge's light grew brighter, its metal skin cracking under the strain. The scholar realized the truth too late. They're not attacking, they're fleeing. The core's containment failed. For a single, infinite moment, the prisoner emerged. Not a weapon, not a monster, but a being of pure, screaming absence. The void given will. The engineer's voice was the last thing to escape the unraveling reality. Asterisk, it was never about winning. It was about taking them with us. Asterisk, then, light, silence. The explosion tore through dead space, swallowing the Forge, the Devourer's everything. The shock wave rippled across star systems, bending gravity itself. When it faded, there was nothing left. No wreckage, no bodies, just an afterimage burned into the cosmos. A final message from a dead machine, echoing across the dark. When gods wake, and somewhere, impossibly far away, another Forge stirred, waiting. Silence, the kind that comes after the universe holds its breath. Then, a single, fractured transmission cuts through the void. Static, a voice. The scholars. Asterisk captain? Engineer? Anyone. Asterisk. The words dissolve into noise. The comms are dead. The scholar drifts in the wreckage of the command hub, their suit's oxygen ticking down. The Forge is gone. The Devourers are gone. There's only the aftermath, a graveyard of twisted metal and fading radiation. A shadow moves. The captain's armored form emerges from the debris, helmet cracked but intact. They drag the scholar to a half-collapsed escape pod, its systems flickering. No words are exchanged. None are needed. The pod shudders as it detaches, tumbling away from the wreckage. Through the viewport, the scholar watches the last echoes of the explosion ripple outward, a dying star's final breath. Then a new signal, faint, distant, a repeating pulse, steady as a heartbeat. The captain's hands freeze over the controls. The scholar's breath catches. They know that frequency, the Forge's signature, but not their Forge. Another, somewhere out there, another machine stirs. Another war waits. Another god dreams. The scholar exhales. The pod's engines ignite. And humanity's last survivors turn their ship toward the signal, toward the next fight, toward the next Forge, toward the next awakening. The void watches, and somewhere, deep in the dark, something asterisk laughs. The escape pod's engines burned to the last reserves of fuel as it limped toward the signal. The scholar monitored the pulsing transmission, identical to the Forge's signature, yet subtly different. Older, deeper. The captain checked weapon systems that no longer existed on their crippled vessel. Both knew they were flying toward another apocalypse. The pod sensors flickered to life as they entered the new system. A planet hung in the void, its surface scarred with geometric patterns visible even from orbit. No, not a planet. A shell. The signal originated from beneath its artificial crust. The scholar's hand shook. It's not just another Forge. It's the first Forge. Atmosphere screamed against their hull as they breached the surface. The landing was less a controlled descent and more a controlled crash. Metal groaned as they skidded across an endless plain of blackened alloy. When the dust cleared, they saw it. A vast maw on the planet's surface, leading down into darkness. The air tasted of ozone and something older than time. The captain activated their helmet's lamp, the beam cutting through unnatural shadows. We go in. The descent took hours. The walls pulsed with the same eerie light as the Forge, but here the glyphs were different. Not warnings, but invocations. The scholar traced them with trembling fingers. They weren't containing the Devourers. They were studying them. Deeper, the temperature dropped. The light faded. Then, a chamber, vaster than any cathedral. Its ceiling lost in gloom. At its center stood a single figure, frozen in a column of amber light. Not a machine. Not a god. A man. The scholar's breath fogged their visor. That's impossible. The figure's eyes opened. The captain's weapon was up in an instant, but the figure simply smiled. His voice echoed inside their skulls, bypassing sound entirely. Asterisk, not impossible. Inevitable. Asterisk, The scholar stumbled back. You're Asterisk, the first engineer, the last prisoner, the only one who stayed behind. Asterisk, outside the planet shuddered. The signal's pulse quickened. The man stepped forward, the light bending around him. Asterisk, you broke the cycle. Now we finish it. Asterisk, the captain's finger tightened on the trigger. Finish what? The man looked up through miles of metal, through the fabric of space itself. Asterisk, the war that never ended. Asterisk, the ground fell away beneath them. The planet unfolded, and the first forge awoke.